Hello and welcome everyone to the Daily 8 on the News 8 Live Desk. Phil Penarski here as we count down the top 8 stories of the day. We've got a lot of things planned for today's show, but before we start, I do want to remind everyone that if you want an extended version of the Daily 8, well, all you have to do is sign up for Wood TV Plus. It's free to do, and it is a downloadable app right now. It is available to everyone who has a Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV. All you have to do is search WOOD in the search bar and it will pop right up. You just download it and then you'll be able to start watching all of our newscasts in real time, get up-to-date forecasting, check out some of our 8 West content, and then of course get that full hour-long version of the Daily 8. Again, that is coming up later on at 2, but just wanted to throw that reminder out there for everyone. Now let's get started with our first story of the day. The Grand Rapids Police Department is addressing the actions of their officers last Friday when they launched pepper balls into a crowd of people in an effort to clear the area. According to GRPD, the crowd consisted of about 400 people who gathered after a show at a local music venue at the intersection of Commerce Avenue and Cherry Street. It was around 2:30 in the morning on Saturday when fights actually started to break out in that crowd. Officers attempted to tell people to just leave the area, and after about 8 minutes or so, pepper ball launchers were brought out. The balls were shot at the ground to release clouds of powdered substance that most resembles mace to help people disperse from the area. We sat down with Chief Eric Windstrom, who spoke to us saying that he commended the officers for their actions and their restraint. In total, 5 people were arrested, but no one was injured, according to GRPD. Windstrom also said that the department is still reviewing all of the video to see if more charges are warranted at this time. And next we have an update to a Target 8 investigation from last year regarding a steep hill on Jericho Avenue just south of Rockford. The hill, which has seen at least 5 deadly crashes since the mid-1960s, will now be regraded this summer by the Kent County Road Commission. Susan Samples investigated the hill following the death of an 18-year-old on Thanksgiving night in 2023. It was part of a tradition for some students in the area who were trying to, quote, jump the hill. The 5 crashes resulted in 6 total deaths, with 4 of them being teens as young as 15 years old. Over the years since the crashes first became prevalent, the Road Commission says that it will look to drop the elevation of the hill about 12 to 15 feet in an effort to improve sight lines and discourage that hill jumping. It's estimated the project will cost about $500,000. This is not the first time the commission has tried to fix the hill. Back in the 1970s, they offered a proposal, but neighbors near the hill were not on board at the time. The project will begin this week with some tree removals and will begin the reconstruction of the hill when Rockford High School begins their summer break. The White House is lending additional support in an effort to help the restarting of the Palisades nuclear power plant. The U.S. Department of Energy on Monday announced a $56.8 million disbursement to Holtec International, the company in charge of the restart. Money is just part of the $1.5 billion federal loan guarantee. There were some questions about the potential reopening after a January executive order from President Donald Trump, which froze funding from the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act. However, the order also directed federal agencies to eliminate barriers to nuclear development. In addition to the federal funding, the state of Michigan has also committed $300 million to the restart. It would become the first decommissioned nuclear plant to reopen in the United States. The Michigan Department of Natural Resources is reconsidering a ban on deer baiting after confirming a case of chronic waste disease in a northern Michigan deer. The DNR is now open to negotiating changes to penalties associated with that ban that drew ire from hunters back in 2018. The ban was put in place over concerns that deer would spread the disease and other illnesses through those bait piles. Bills introduced in Lansing last week would allow hunters to bait and receive free doe tags. One bill would allow hunters to pay $20 for a permit in areas where the baiting is banned and allow them to use up to 5 gallons of bait per day during deer season. Proceeds from the initiative would go towards research and monitoring diseases in deer, in free-range deer and elk in the state. The current fine for deer baiting in the Lower Peninsula is between $50 and $500. The Kent County Parks Department has several projects planned for the upcoming year. There are 9 projects to be exact, including the Grand River Greenway and Millennium Park, one of the largest urban parks in the entire country. The department says that it is bringing these projects in an effort to meet the needs of residents all throughout the county. Other parks on the list include Waffield Park, Johnson Park, Chief Hazy Cloud Park, and Myers Lake Park. Some of the new things range from new picnic tables and playground equipment to a dog park and pedestrian tunnel at these parks. And now for something to be aware of for tomorrow, Michigan State Police's Emergency Management and Homeland Security Division is set to conduct a voluntary tornado drill statewide. It'll be taking place starting at about 1 p.m. on Wednesday as part of the state's Severe Weather Awareness Week. All businesses, schools, residents in general are encouraged to follow along with the statewide drill. You may hear alerts on TV, radio stations, and other emergency notifiers during the drill. MSP has also offered several tips for residents to be prepared in times of a tornado, including what to look out for, identify a safe place to go when weather worsens, and always have an emergency preparedness kit on hand. And speaking of the weather, let's get a check with what to expect today with your forecast. Here is Storm Teammate meteorologist Matt Kirkwood.
Well, in the span of an 8-day forecast, there's always a couple days that stand out, especially in spring, that are just nicer than the rest, and this is going to be those days. Today and tomorrow, you can see a weak cold front moving through, area of low pressure, but that's going to move through just a few high mid-level clouds. That is it. This is going to be the main player in our forecast. That's going to arrive. This area, secondary area of low pressure will arrive. Looks like Wednesday overnight into Thursday. Hourly planner today, lots of sunshine out there and warmer. Temperatures will peak in the lower 60s, which is about, I'd say 10 to 15 degrees above average for this time of year, and sunset at 7:52 this evening. What we're tracking out there, warmer the next couple days, and then that transition from one air mass to the next, we'll have a chance of showers and thunderstorms late Wednesday, especially Wednesday evening, and then a cooler pattern right on through this upcoming weekend. Could even see some snow. Actually, I think snow is likely in some form on Thursday. Whether or not it accumulates, a bit of a question mark at this point. Then remaining cooler right into next week.
All right, thanks, Matt. And we end things today with the philanthropic efforts of a few Jenison third graders. The students raised thousands of dollars to help students in North Carolina who are still recovering from the devastation of Hurricane Helene. Last week, the third graders at Sandy Hill Elementary spoke with those students over Zoom to let them know that they had raised over $5,300 for them to go on a field trip. This was a project that the students began back in October. They held a book sale, bake sale, and also collected cans of pop, which also allowed them to explain what pop was to those North Carolina students during that Zoom call. The full story on their efforts can be found right now over on woodtv.com. And that's going to do it for us today on the Daily 8 Belt. Remember, an extended version is coming up later on today. We're going to be speaking with Storm Teammate, get you a little bit more information on the weather that we've recently seen and what we could expect coming up in just a little bit over the weekend as well. And we are also going to be hearing from our very own Rick Albin, as well as some fun events coming to Hackley Library in Muskegon. You're not going to want to miss it. Make sure you tune in to Wood TV Plus starting at 2 p.m. for the full extended Daily 8. And if not, we will see you again here on the live desk, same time, same place for another edition of the regular Daily 8. I do want to thank everybody so much for tuning into this latest edition of the News 8 Live Desk. I'm Phil Pinarski, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.